Today I will show you my favorite gear ups for all classes, and I'm going to rate and explain each implant in the meta of Planetside 2 in 2024. Bolt snipers are bad and have bullet drop. Using obelisk for headshots, cloak to jump down mountains without damage, and implant to be even less visible in combat is my choice to fight at a huge distance. For flash engagement I use jockey and mine detection implant with a Scorpius for engagement just in case. I also have vehicles to spawn with me. For close combat I use a silencer on the Scorpius and sensor shield as an implant. If spotted by an opponent, my counter spotting implant warns me, so I can cloak and cancel the spotting. My knife build runs with Stalker Cloak and mines. The NSX Raging Grenades in combination with the NS45 can kill almost all enemies at instance when you hit them. To walk faster I use the cat-like implant, which is mandatory for any Stalker builds. This build is not ready for combat yet. The idea is to use flash mines and flash grenades, but I didn't have the FSP points for flashbangs on the spy yet, so I couldn't use it. With the Augura shield, the idea is to blind your enemies while your own grenades don't affect you. Last we have a bolt sniper build. I'd say additional speed with adrenaline pump and critical chain for faster reload are useful here. Switching to light assault I use the Eclipse. It is the best Orex venue weapon in my opinion, as it has a silencer and also an underbarrel shotgun. I also try to blind enemies here with flash grenades that won't affect myself. If damaged, the survival implant makes me move faster and restores health and shield. This one is for airdrops to take down tanks. The Zenith with short barrel and laser is very good in killing infantry mid-air. Safe fall ensures I can drop on the tank without damage, and airdrop implant makes me invisible when landing. The shotgun build is more for fun. The nightmare implant would stealth me for 2 seconds when I make a close kill, and sensor shield protects me from detection. However, the nightmare implant is not an implant of choice in the 2024 meta, and 2 seconds are too short for usage. Next we have our ambusher jetpack character. It runs survival implant for faster regeneration of health and shield, and a Zenith with shot barrel to shoot mid-air, and a parachute implant to protect from fall damage. This character is also more for fun. It combines adrenaline walk for faster moving speed with survivalist for faster walk when shield is down, and 2 Orex weapons, so basically there is no need for reload anymore. However, that sounds better in theory than it actually works in combat. The revival medic runs an implant to stealth and revived teammates, and combat medic to regain my healing ability after reviving. The Lacerta weapon is a small lasher, which means it doesn't have to directly hit with its ammo to deal damage, and therefore can stop enemies at doorsteps. As second weapon I use the Eidolon for its underbarrel grenade. For further range I use Bionics and Shield Regen implant in combination with Advanced Shield to fast restore all my shield, and as Darkstar combined with Immortal for basically endless ammo. That gives me the possibility to use C4 instead of medikits. My underwater build uses a rare implant that avoids spotting, at least in theory, and spots enemies automatically when they are hit. It also uses C4 to bring down enemy spawns. This fun build can actually be a pain to enemies of large groups when you are only meters away from them. It has only health that regenerates with Vampire implant for each sidearm or knife kill. Switching to Immortal pistol or knife, it doesn't have to reload. This Spitfire engineer uses Eclipse with silencer and underbarrel shotgun, and a Chaos shotgun in second slot. Therefore, it basically has not to reload, and the both implants for repairs and additional health strengthen the Spitfire's endurance. The mana turret build uses jockey, so even a sniper headshot will not kill you at instant. The second implant and flak armor in combination give me a good resistance against grenades. Prime gun is the archer to deal with maxes. My vehicle build uses anti-vehicle grenades and mines, mine detection implant, and an implant that restores 500 hit points when you can kill a close-by enemy vehicle. Its tool is a mana rocket to deal with tanks at a long distance. My airdrop engineer uses mines as Spitfire and Safefall and stealth implant after drop. The Horizon has 100% accuracy mid-air and therefore is the weapon of choice for a real paratrooper. The EMP barrier build uses 2 hard-like barriers and up to 4 EMP grenades. In theory, you can black doors and use the EMP grenades to stop huge groups of enemies to enter a facility door, which happens quite often, seconds before taking over a facility, and therefore can save a victory. This fun char is used to either sit on back of a harasser or drive it. For higher survivability on the back seat, I use the first implant, and for extra speed with the harasser the second one. It has 4 packs of C4, so the harasser should drive next to an enemy tank to allow me to throw the C4, and boom, the enemy tank is gone. The first build in the heavy class is my supporter. The Beetlejuice can stop enemies at door, but the real deal is the Lasher combined with the implant that increases fire rate of 8%. That gives a devastating stream to enemy forces, which is hard to pass. Next is my anti-vehicle build, which implants are for faster movement and base construction. It uses the Eidolon for the underbarrel grenade, a stomper, a laser-guided rocket launcher, and anti-vehicle grenades, so basically everything about this build is deadly for tanks. This one is one of my favorites. I fly to enemy towers and farm with a silenced shotgun, sensor shield and avoidance. Here everything is about not being spotted and getting behind or upfront your enemies with a shotgun. I highly advise you to watch my tower farming videos. My all-situational build uses Symbiont and Survivalist, so I could replace medikits with a hardlight barrier. The Galgan has less of a movement restriction when moving to the side and therefore is good in close and mid-range combat. With the Stomper's special grenades I can spot spies and make sure larger groups of enemies are stuck on stairs. My airplane hater build is more of a joke. It uses guided rockets and an implant for auto-detection in case of a hit. Of course, a sky shield for self-protection is needed, and in theory the session can deal quite some damage against ESF. The last build is not developed yet. I think about using them all with laser pointer and unstable ammo for easy hits, but I think there will be better usages of the Deadshot implant. You may write me your thoughts in the comments. To go for real high kill streaks, I prefer to play mechs. The Nebula is my weapon of choice for any range, avoid the Cosmos. The rare cold implant makes me invisible to sensor, which is quite a surprise when a mech suddenly appears behind a door, and combat hardened increases my accuracy. My flak build uses 2 flak cannons, ammo printer for additional ammo, and heavyweight implant to avoid any kind of shaking, especially when annoying airplanes shoot rockets at you. Of course, who would have guessed it, it runs flak armor. The Comet deals high damage against vehicles. Avoid MGs and the laser weapons, they are weak. I use the first implant to see the enemy's tanks' hit points and the second one for additional ammo. Here is the strongest of all builds. Although the rare Berserker implant has been nerfed, the sheer fact that you can restore your hit points is amazing, as quite often there is no engineer around. Flak armor protects for rockets and C4. With this build I make my highest kill streaks. This one here, however, doesn't use flak armor, but extra armor against orbital strikes. However, the developer completely failed on that. Even with this loadout, and I have maxed it, you can barely survive an orbital if you are not far enough away. Last is a build with kinetic armor. While you go down pretty fast with Berserk Implant and Flak armor against anti-material rifles, I sometimes use this one here when I do not fear to be hit by C4 but instead have to oppose infantry with anti-material rifles. After you have seen my character loadouts, we come to a list of all implants except for a few new ones. I played them all and can also write you in the comments answers to your questions. Athlete is good for an anti-vehicle build as it allows you to run a little bit faster. Assassination Implant cancels enemies' spotting and spots automatically when you hit an enemy. Cat-like allows for faster movement when crouching and therefore is mandatory for stalker builds. It also helps you to jump higher. Electrotech adds repairs to nearby machines like Spitfire. Therefore, I really only see a usage if you use a Spitfire. Parachutist Implant saves you from fall damage and restores jetpack fuel faster. Therefore, it might be a choice for ambusher jetpack builds. Firestorm adds an 8% fire increase, but accuracy drops. Therefore, I doubt it has any use except for the lasher. Gunslinger allows you to reload pistols faster, but let's be honest, there are better choices and most don't want to play pistol only. This implant allows you to jump higher and move a bit faster after reloading, but let's be honest, it is complete trash, as you can have that with Cat-like and Survivalist too. This one is a favorite of many heavy players. It restores 200 shield after a headshot and also 10% of your ability, which is in case of a heavy their overshield. However, to make the most of it, you should have at least every second kill a headshot. Shocky adds 250 additional shield, so it is useful when you sit on back of a harasser or use a mana turret. Besides that, it has no use. Combat Medic restores your ability, which is for medics mainly the group healing ability, therefore it is useful in large fights when you focus on healing. Battle Hardened reduces shaking and therefore allows to hit your enemy better, especially makes it easier to go for the headshots. Do not use Karma at all. It is trash. I only have it in case it receives a buff one day and because I have enough ISO for it. Critical Chain is good for bolt snipers so they can faster reload. However, for the effect you have to make a headshot, but as a sniper you go for the headshot anyway. Sortie is yet another trash implant. I meanwhile have it on level 5 and can't find any situation for a use of it. This one here refuels 30% of your jetpack after a kill, but personally I think Parachutist is the better option. This implant allows you to move with almost regular speed when overshield is active. Although old, it might be an option for heavy builds in some situations. Ammo printer gives additional ammo for vehicles and infantry. It is recommended for flag maxes, tanks and pro bolt snipers. Moving with your overshield consumes the ability even when not being hit. This implant reduces the effect, but it is way too bad compared with other implants. Nightmare, at least in theory, is good with a strong shotgun like the Deimos or with a silenced shotgun. It stabs you for 2 seconds if you kill an enemy at 5 meters. Ocular Shield cancels effects on you like the ones of flashbangs and therefore can be life-saving in large fights. I think it is underestimated for usage on max suits. Plan B is another trash implant. It is the second worst after Karma, and so I'm not even willing to explain it further until it will receive a buff. Plunderer gives you extra ammo on pistols. Why in God's name would you need that? Tank Plunderer implant gives you extra ammo for tanks. I think it is an option for ammo printer because it also gives additional 500 hit points. Especially in large fights with flashes around, you can therefore easily restore your hit points. Reactive armor does work with flak armor or with the honor tool of same effect. However, it only works after being hit a first time and all three together won't stack. Regeneration will restore 100 health after headshots or small amounts of health when not receiving damage for some seconds. The effect, however, is too small and there are better implants out there. Repair Field restores hit points for your allies and makes only sense with a medic that uses a shield restore tool. In my opinion, you might combine it with Bionics if you want to give Bionics a chance. Robotech adds additional armor to your Spitfire and Mana turret. I recommend to use it with a Spitfire, then switch inside a Thunderer and see that the effect remains. Safeguard gives you extra health after being revived. But why would you want to die in the first place? Salvage gives a huge chunk of hit points after killing a max, but fighting a max as a max will most likely drain much more hit points from you, so to have friendly engineers nearby is better. Fast reaction makes you walk faster with construction modules and installs them faster. If you want to build a huge base, I can recommend it. Fast Gear, or however this implant is translated into English, refills your ability for the Harasser boost. It makes only sense with the Harasser and is mediocre. Heavyweight reduces shaking. It has a second effect, which is a shockwave if you receive fall damage, but there is almost no situational use of this effect. Therefore I recommend it for flag max only. Sensor Shield is one of the best implants for almost all characters and situations, as map detection is what really kills you quite often. If you search for an all-out situational implant, you should max this one. Safe fall is good for you if you use ESF planes. However, if you fly too high or gain forward momentum, even this implant will not save you anymore. Sidewinder gives you additional speed when crouching or moving backwards. You might use it on Docker builds in addition to cat-like for even faster movements. Sweeper will detect mines safely when maxed out. It is a must-have if you drive vehicles. Symbiont is less good as Survivalist but restores your health even if your shield is not down yet after first impact. So if you use it, you might not need your medikits anymore. Deep Agent is another option for stalker builds to become even less visible or to use it as a sniper that runs across the area. Deadshot increases hipfire accuracy when health drops. It is a new implant and the only common I do not have yet. I asked myself if you could combine it with bionics to constantly drop your health and therefore have a constant usage of it. Vampire gives extra health for sidearm or knife kills. It works with throwing knife and is recommended for medics together with carpenters. Covered landing stealths you for 6 seconds when you drop to the ground. It is useful for ASF fighters that do not want to get shot after ejecting. In addition, it also activates when you use glider jetpacks mid-air. Fortification makes you less vulnerable to body shots and grenades. However, you are not allowed to move and it will not stack with regular armor. Therefore, it more likely kills you than actually giving an advantage. This one stealthens revived teammates, not the best one for a medic for sure, but situational. This one allows you to see enemy hit points bar, but more important, it allows you to use large scopes for the sniper for a longer time without shaking. Overlord allows you to hit a second target with one bullet when activating your overshield. It also works with the lasher, however the situations for actual usage of it are rarely given. Survivalist is one of the oldest implants and the first one I maxed. Besides a sensor shield, it remains a top tier as it restores health and shield and makes movements faster after your shield breaks. Now we come finally to the rare implants, of which some are really worthy and some are entirely trash. Starting with the best of all, which is avoidance. You can move over enemy mines with it and Spitfires won't shoot you any longer. Therefore it is mandatory to farm at enemy towers. Berserk is the second best. It keeps your max alive as it restores its hit points. Bionics lowers your health to 100 and increases your shield to 900. Using it, you should go with Advanced Shield. It might actually help you to replace your medikit slot. Experimental Stim is pretty useless. First, you have to use medikits for activation. Second, you do not know which effect you get. Firewall protects base turrets from being hacked. As base turrets have low health, they are bad in the current meta anyway, so you waste your time with this one. This implant makes you unspottable underwater after your first kill. It was an event implant, I'm not sure if it is still working. Counter Spy tells you if you was spotted. It is of use for spies that could cloak and therefore cancel the spotting. Infrared helps you to see enemies very clear unless they are cloaked. With so many spies around, it is a very situational implant and can bring death to your enemies and yourself. Juggernaut is trash as you either smash your enemy death with a max melee attack or do not use a max melee attack at all. Cold Heart makes you invisible to enemies map, but they can hear it. For regular infantry I recommend Sensor Shield. However, if you play max, you may opt for it. Logistics allows you to spawn friendlies in your vehicle. In vehicles you run out of ammo or drive into mines, so there is no space for such an implant, but if you cancel ammo printer and have friends, it might help. Minor Cloak takes too long to cloak. It is a funny idea that a heavy can cloak such as a spy, but in reality it is another trash implant. This implant here is of even less use as experimental stims. It is as bad as Karma, don't use it. Just don't use it. Carpenters makes only sense for medics. They can replace 500 shield for 500 health, which is good as they can heal their hit points faster with their ability and medikits or combine it with Vampire Implant. Retreat is the only one left which I wish to have. When activating your repairs you create a shockwave to push back enemies and walk faster for some seconds to escape. I think it might be useful. That's it, I hope you have learned enough and wish you a nice day.